Remember that when someone underestimates you, they're not assessing your capacity, they're revealing theirs. Welcome to the Endlessly Elated podcast. I'm your host, Kathleen Pagan, founder of Endlessly Elated, cook, designer, storyteller, and soon-to-be author. But at heart, I'm a woman endlessly curious about what it means to live with intention. Week after week, we'll slow down, reflect, ask life's big questions, and uncover the lessons that help us live more thoughtfully. Hello, and welcome to today's episode. There's that familiar moment we've all experienced when you realize someone has already decided who you are and what you're capable of. They've underestimated you. It's happened to all of us, but what you do with that moment shifts the pendulum of power. In that instant, something becomes very clear. You can spend your energy trying to correct the story they've already written about you, or you can stop factoring their opinion into your next move altogether. And you know what we're going to choose, right? I've come to learn that being underestimated isn't a disadvantage at all. It's actually an advantage, a huge advantage. It has served me in ways I can't even begin to explain. While other people are busy forming conclusions, you stop waiting for validation or explaining yourself. You stop trying to convince anyone that what you're building is real or viable or worth taking seriously. It's in this moment that you realize their doubt says more about them than it ever will about you. And that's the shift. This isn't about overcoming doubt. It's about weaponizing it in a good way. It's about what becomes possible when you stop trying to be understood and let the work speak so clearly that even the loudest opinions lose the little relevance, if any, they ever had. Let me take you back to a conversation that has replayed in my head over the years. I think it's been the catalyst for my own reframe around being underestimated. I was leaving corporate America, leaving a career in finance that I had spent years building ever since the day I graduated college. I was leaving the safety, the title, the predictability, and I was stepping into something that felt true to me: food, design, and whatever else I was going to honor in that moment. The things I loved since I was a kid, but had set aside because they didn't fit the script. And when I started sharing this vision with people, what I heard most often was, and I kid you not, "Aw, that sounds cute." It was as if there was some insider conversation that had happened without my knowledge, and all these people decided to provide the same feedback. Cute. Not ambitious, not exciting, not even risky. Cute. I've come to realize that cute is the word people use when something doesn't threaten the life they chose. But I digress. So to them, it was cute. As if I was starting a hobby or would be something I do on the weekends between quote unquote real work. Or as if wanting to build something around my passions, wanting to be Martha Stewart-esque instead of staying a CFO was charming, but not at all serious. To me, the subtext was clear. You're wasting your career, your degree, and truthfully, you'll never really amount to what you would have been should you have stayed. They didn't say it outright, but you know when you can hear it. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't sting, or if in that moment it didn't create more self-doubt, because these weren't strangers. They were people who knew me, people I respected, whose opinions I valued. And here's what took some time, but I finally realized it. Their doubt, like I've said, wasn't ever about me. It was only about them. Because people measure your future using the limits of their own past. And they couldn't see it because they'd never allow themselves to imagine it. And what you can't imagine for yourself, you can't believe is possible for someone else. Their doubt was never my ceiling. It was simply their limiting beliefs fully exposed. So after a while, I stopped explaining and defending. I learned, and I stopped trying to make them understand. I put my head down and I started building the life I wanted. There was also this one moment before I left, and I think about this all the time as well because it's part of the whole reframe. I had a boss tell me that my niceness was a problem. If you are anything like me, I'm sure you've heard this before, that I needed to be tougher, sharper, more aggressive if I wanted to succeed in anything I did. And I looked at her and I swear I don't know what came over me because, yes, I can be quote unquote too nice sometimes. But I said, don't ever mistake my kindness for weakness. I also should have probably let her know that the loudest voice in the room is often not the one who is leading, but the one who's masking insecurity. And kindness, softness, thoughtfulness, those aren't my liabilities, they're my choices. And just because I wasn't performing hardness the way she expected didn't mean I wasn't strong or a good leader. It meant that I was purposely operating from a different playbook, a playbook that was nothing like hers. And truth be told, to me, that was a compliment. I didn't want my playbook to look anything like hers. I actually didn't admire her way of leading, and it was a reminder that I could do things my way. So I've carried that with me till this day. Can you tell? The world will always try to tell you what power is supposed to look like, what ambition is supposed to sound like, and what success is supposed to feel like. And if you don't fit that mold, they'll underestimate you. So good. As Mel Robbins says, let them. Because now I get to live life on my terms. I create my own schedule, take on projects that suit my passions. I'm building a business that makes me wake up every day more excited than the day before. And is it hard? Hell yeah. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. I've failed at a million different things. I've had to rebuild, rethink, and start over more times than I can count. And in full transparency, I'm still not where I want to be. But I wouldn't trade this life for any other. It's mine. It's a representation of what I always knew deep down inside was my path. And I might have not understood that then. And what I wish I would have known sooner is that being underestimated isn't just about other people doubting you. It's about what you do with that doubt. And their doubt didn't define me, but my response to it did. So now let me ask you something. How much of your life are you building around other people's belief in you? How many decisions are you delaying because you're waiting for someone to tell you it's realistic? How many dreams are you quietly shelving because the people around you can't see it yet? And here's the truth. You'll never get the universal belief. You will never convince everyone that what you're building matters or that you're capable of pulling it off or that it's worth taking seriously. I want to pause here. This will be a fully free episode. If you want to support my work and listen to other podcast episodes in their entirety, join me inside the subscriber space. You'll find the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for your endless support. So now, we all know that the world will always have an opinion, or worse off, you'll imagine it does. The people who love you will worry. The people you don't know will project their own limitations onto your vision. And none of it, I mean none of it, matters as much as what you know to be true. So the sooner you stop treating other people's doubt as a stop sign, the sooner you can start treating it as fuel. Every "that's unrealistic" is just someone else's ceiling. Every "you're too ambitious" is just someone else's fear dressed up as advice. And the "that sounds cute" is just someone else's inability to imagine something bigger than what they've allowed themselves to want. So it's not about you. It never was, and it never will be. Remember that when someone underestimates you, they're not assessing your capacity. They're revealing theirs. They're telling you what they think is possible based on what they've done or haven't done, or were too afraid to try. They're projecting their own limitations, their doubts, their own relationship with risk and ambition and the unknown. And you do not ever have to carry that. None of us do. So don't shrink your vision to fit their comfort or slow down so they can catch up. You just have to put your head down, drown out the noise, and build your dream life, whatever that means to you. And I feel like when we all do that, we quickly see how things change, how we stop managing perceptions and wasting energy trying to convince people who were never going to believe us anyway. Oh, and that's the power of being underestimated. It gives you room to move, to build, to let them watch you. And when you finally show up with the thing they said couldn't be done, the business, the project, the life you wanted, there will be nothing left to say because you'll have made it and they'll still be thinking about it. Oh, and that cute comment has gone a long way. I think about where I am now, the life I've built, mornings that are mine, the work that lights me up, and the freedom to say yes to whatever the hell I want and no to everything else. I didn't get here because I convinced anyone. I got here because I stopped asking for that permission. And I have worked my ass off and continue to advocate for myself. And that shift from waiting for belief to building anyway has been life-changing. So let them underestimate you. Let them call it unrealistic, tell you you're being naive, or that you're wasting your potential away. Let them project their fear onto your vision to tell you what's possible based on what they've been willing to risk. And then quietly, deliberately build the life you want. Not to prove them wrong, but to give yourself the life you deserve and the one you already know is right for you. And if nothing else, remember this. The only life you ever have to justify is the one you didn't live. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to follow wherever you stream your podcasts. And if you feel called, share it with someone who might need to hear it too. I'll meet you right back here next week. Until next episode, bye.